So, tell me something terrible. Have you ever done that?
Get up in the middle of the night to go poop?
Had to wake up. Yeah, you wake up in the night and think you have to pee. Then you're like, oh shit, I have to poop.
Absolutely not. I'm lucky. No.
You've never pooped in the middle of the night?
I don't think you realize having irregular bowel movements is a new revelation in my life as a 32-year-old.
One of the worst things. Get up, right? Dog wants let out. Whatever. Let her out. Go in. Go to pee. As a dude, it's kind of weird because you're peeing, standing there, and you're like, oh, shit.
You know, I was watching a video from a pelvic floor therapist, and she said no one should stand when you're peeing.
You said she, so she's just jealous. But that's the worst when you're like, oh, shit, I need to shit. So then you do a hard pivot, do a little 180. And then you're sitting there. You don't have your phone. You just got up to let the dog out. And then you're trying to shit, and you're like, well, shit, the dog's outside. She's been out there for, like, it's dark out. Anyway, you got a million things in your mind. It's a really hard time to try to go poo.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah. It doesn't happen often. Like, it's a very rare occurrence. But when it does, you're like, I shouldn't have had Taco Bell. These were poor decisions.
See, I can't really have that much Taco Bell anymore.
It's not always Taco Bell. It's just poor choices.
Water, air, anything makes you need to go to the bathroom.
This is why I don't usually get up with the dog. That's your responsibility. Because look at what can happen.
That, and you also get up like an hour and a half earlier than I do.
Well, yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
And you make me stay up like an hour and a half later than I want to.
Yeah.
Like tonight.
Yep.
Just kidding. Anyway, what are we talking about besides...
Pooping?
Yeah, the 2 a.m. poops. 3 o'clock. Let's be honest.
The dog gets up at 3 a.m.
Yeah, she's the witching hour to the T. Like 3:00 every night. It's not weird at all.
Sometimes it's 3:30.
Yeah.
Like that one night I had to wash the squishy dingleberry off of her fur at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Pet ownership.
Yep.
It's great.
Yeah, everyone should get a dog or 4.
You're the one that wants to get her a buddy because you feel bad for her. Well, she's so alone.
Well, she's like an only child, but we have an only child, so they kind of balance each other out.
Yeah, but she loves being an only child.
Yeah, but we don't know how the dog feels.
That's true.
Stop messing with your mic.
I didn't touch it. Are we going to introduce ourselves?
Sure.
Hi, I'm Tiffany.
Hi, Scott.
And you're listening to Tell Me Something Terrible.
Yeah, you are.
Unless you turned it off after that riveting intro about poop.
Which, if you did, you're probably not our kind of listener anyway, so.
That's true.
Anyway, moving on.
The topic.
Hopefully it goes not... I hope you're not like, it's a natural segue, because that'd be weird.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I mean, this guy probably pooped his pants, but no.
He did poop. Everybody poops.
Yeah, but I mean, like, in the event that I'm going to tell you about.
Okay.
Okay. So, March 9th, 1996. How old were you?
I was sneaking up on my 8th birthday.
Okay. So this started out unlike every normal day for Paul Temper.
Paul Temper?
Yep.
Okay. Does
He
he have an attitude problem?
No, he's a pretty chill gentleman.
Okay.
Because he, in his quotes...
His nickname's Even.
Even Kevin?
Even Temper.
Even Kevin's
That's an
very
joke.
Inside family joke.
I like inside jokes with people who don't listen to the podcast. These
she
are my
might
favorite
listen.
kind. Does she? I don't think she does.
She's busy.
Yeah. Anyway.
So in his quotes, he says he wanted to say that this day felt like every other day. Mm-hmm. One, it's cliche. Two, he said that when he woke up, there was a massive sense of foreboding. He just felt like there was something off.
Okay.
So the man that was supposed to be leading the canoe safari...
Wait, canoe safari?
Yes. Down the Zambezi River...
Okay. For some reason to me, safaris have to take place in like a Jeep and you have to stand out top and there's got to be giraffes.
Nope. You can totally go down a river.
A Zambezi?
Yep.
Where's that?
Zimbabwe.
Okay.
So we are smack dab, not these NBPMB ones. This is a legit... Mm-hmm. There's going to be animals.
Okay.
Wild animals, not like wandering about in cages.
I didn't think Zimbabwe was known for like... Oh
shit! I'm immediately questioning whether or not it's actually in Zimbabwe. I'm pretty sure the Zambezi River isn't.
I mean,
it's in Africa.
The word association is pretty legit.
But I mean, it might be in Kenya. Look, I fucked up where Jonestown
Where are we going?
was earlier.
Zambezi River.
Yep.
Zambezi. The river in Africa? Mm-hmm. Okay. It runs through...
Does it even touch Zimbabwe?
Hold on. We're going on a Google adventure here. It goes through... It does go through Zimbabwe.
Good.
It goes through Zambia.
Okay.
It also goes through Mozambique.
Okay.
And Malawi.
I can tell you where the Ivory Coast is, and that's it.
Which I suppose is why it's called the River of Africa. I don't know if it goes through all those. That's all the ones that was around it when I zoomed out. And it looks like it's a large river.
He says it's one of the most beautiful rivers in the world. And he was in the most beautiful stretch of that most beautiful river in the world.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Just living his best life.
Totally. So, the man that was supposed to be leading the canoe safari down the Zambezi River that day had come down with malaria.
Okay.
And so the entire day had a, quote, sense of foreboding that I'd mentioned earlier, according to Paul.
Could be the malaria in the air.
Yep. It's a little heavy, thick with malaria. So at this point, Paul had been leading canoe expeditions on the Zambezi River for more than 6 years and did not want to miss an opportunity to float along one of the most beautiful stretches of river along what he says is the most beautiful river in the world.
Is there nothing in that river that can eat you?
We're gonna get to it.
Okay. It just seems like when you're in a car, like on a normal safari, you can...
You're surrounded by steel.
Yeah. And
you can drive off quickly.
Things like snakes can't bite you because you're in a car.
Yeah.
And like if you see a lion in
charging
theory, you can drive away from it.
You're not going to drown on land.
Yeah. But canoes, you're pretty secluded.
They're a little tippy.
The proximity is also very close. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's like going on a go-kart excursion through the desert.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Anyway, proceed.
Yeah, we'll get to it. So he skillfully navigated the waters with the tourists and the guides in training, named Evans, Ben, and Mike, in their 7 canoes behind him. So he was...
Was it Evan or was it Even?
Evans. So I think it's his last name.
Just a callback. Callbacks
even
to
Kevin?
Callbacks to bad jokes make them better.
Yeah, they do.
That's how you build a foundation.
Yep.
That's how this podcast came about.
And also explaining jokes.
Let's just regurgitate the same shitty jokes and people like join in and then we'll all be in this together.
Like a cult.
Yeah.
Like all good podcasts.
Yeah.
Following is a
Except
cult.
these hosts were sleeping together when this started.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. So he skillfully navigated the waters with the tourists and the guys in trainings in their 7 canoes behind him, like a mother duck pointing out the giraffes, elephants, lions, crocodiles, and hippos.
Okay, I'm no expert, but those last 2 things seem like they would eat you if you're in the water. Hippos particularly.
Okay, so.
I've heard they're hungry.
Yeah. The hippo, the group, came upon a pod of a dozen hippos.
Is that what you call a group? A pod?
A pod, yep.
Okay.
Wallowing in the shallow waters. So Paul decided to pull his canoe alongside the pod, but not too closely, answering the inevitable question that always comes up during these safaris. Do hippos really kill more people a year than any other animal? Yes.
Yep.
They do.
That's called a pod of fuck around and find out.
Yep. So he traverses the pod, giving them a wide berth to avoid any disasters. Mm-hmm. But the canoe that Evan was in had been that he'd been piloting was knocked off course.
Wasn't he a trainer?
He was a guide in training.
Yeah, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he veered into the deeper waters. Paul heard a deafening thud.
Okay.
Evan's canoe was charged by a massive bull hippo.
This is like Lake Placid shit where like the boat like flips.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's exactly it.
Nice.
The canoe.
Betty White's been feeding these hippos.
Yep. Yeah. Little pieces of bread.
Yeah.
Her ex-husband.
Yeah.
You know.
Whatever.
So Paul turned around just in time to see even Evan's canoe being catapulted 4 feet into the air.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Evan's falling into the water.
Well, if he would have landed back in the canoe, that would have been more impressive.
And it would have saved a lot of trouble.
Well, particularly Evan's life, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, Evans does drown. So Paul told everyone to paddle to safety as he went back towards where Evans fell into the water. So Evans was panicking and Paul was reaching out to him, their fingers nearly touching. And Paul said it was like a movie. The water explodes around the pair and everything went dark. Paul is then pulled into the water, only his legs protruding from the bull hippo's mouth.
Okay, so like the rest of him's inside the hippo?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay. So from the waist up, this man is like a good 6.5 feet tall.
Okay.
He is not a small man.
No.
So the rest of him was waist deep inside the hippo. A tusk
So
had...
you do Hercules and cut around the esophagus and like come popping out?
And then another hippo head grows, like
3
the Hydra.
heads, yes.
Yeah. So a tusk
Jeepers, mister, you're strong.
Quick, call IXII. I was well into my teens when I realized that was 911.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I think that might have been the moment I truly fell in love with Disney.
The subtleties?
Like, yeah, I grew up with
And then
Disney.
last week I ruined it for you. Just kidding.
Yeah, you did. I grew up with like Disney, so I was a big fan. And then when you get old enough to start to get all of the adult
nuancy
jokes in
stuff,
it, you're like, oh my God, this is such a smart, the writers. Anyway.
Body language.
So a tusk had punctured Paul's abdomen.
Oh, I was hoping it was a Tuscany. Anyway.
No, I don't think it takes out his knee. There's a lot of other bits and pieces of him that...
Sorry, I just... The
No,
bad joke
a
in me
tusk-
was just... I was warmed up for it, and then you said his abdomen.
Yeah, no, there's no knees involved.
Okay.
So the tusk at this point is also like further tearing at his flesh, and as the hippo like thrashes under the water. So all Paul can see when he manages to look around is blue-green water mixing with his blood as he reaches around trying to get his bearings on his surroundings, and that's when he feels the bristled snout of the hippo.
The hippos don't have... Do they have sharp teeth or just like blunt teeth?
We're gonna get to it.
Okay.
Paul continues to hold his body inside the hippo's mouth in an attempt to prevent the tusk from doing any further damage. So as he's being thrashed around this entire attack, he also has his hands wrapped around the tusk to stop his body from continuing to pivot on the tusks that have bitten into him.
All right.
So Paul
He's
later...
gone full mechanical bull.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the worst way.
Yeah.
So hold on for 8 seconds, Paul.
Because it's a male hippo.
Oh, because it's a bull hippo. Oh, God.
God. See, I'm like a Disney movie. You'll get it the second. When you get older, you'll get all the jokes. Yeah. You'll appreciate it.
So Paul later describes the breath of the hippo as rotten eggs.
Okay.
Because this motherfucker
They have
survives.
diamonds inside of them.
This motherfucker survives being swallowed by a hippo thrice.
Wait, in this occurrence or
In this occurrence.
Okay, I was gonna say, it's like one. Are you like gonna flash forward 2 months?
No,
and
no,
he's, okay.
no. In this occurrence, he gets swallowed thrice.
The gag reflex on this hippo.
He does not have that dangly thing on the back of his throat.
Okay.
So Paul managed to push himself against one of the tusks and free himself, surfacing right next to Evans. He popped right up. He yelled that they needed to get out of there. Duh. But Evans was frozen in place, so Paul grabbed his hand just as the hippo came up from below to grab Paul again.
Oh God, he couldn't go after Evan. Just play dead. Apparently, just freeze.
Nope. Hippos do not give a shit.
Yeah.
Again, he was waist deep down the hippo's throat, being thrashed about in the water. For funsies, the hippo spits Paul out a second time, after which Paul started swimming as fast as humanly possible while bleeding out and being the new owner of a fully crushed arm. So,
Swimming's probably hard.
Yep, he's
just
down
going,
a limb.
He's just going in a circle, swimming as fast as he can. He's just left.
You know, like when you get in pools and everybody gets along the edge and like walks in a circle and creates a whirlpool?
Yeah.
It's exactly what he was doing. Cool. He's like, party time, guys.
And then the hippos get in the center and they're like, oh, they're all disoriented.
Hand me a beer. Let's do it again.
Yeah. They're starting to play Marco Polo.
So, and just like a bad joke, the hippo charges after Paul a third time, trying to swallow him from his legs instead of his head this time. So the hippo again begins to thrash around even more violently, at one point throwing Paul into the air. And one of the tourists that day said it looked like a vicious dog trying to rip apart a rag doll.
I was going to say, yeah, it's going to be like a chew toy type thing.
Yep. A huge, at least 6 foot tall dude.
Nice.
Yeah, hippos are huge. So every time the hippo resurfaces with Paul in his mouth, Paul takes a huge breath of air, and finally the hippo pulls him into deeper water. So Paul distinctly remembers thinking as he's watching the blood leave his body and swirl around them that, quote, am I going to drown or am I going to bleed to death first?
Both great options.
Yep. He just was fully accepting his fate, fully cognizant of what was going on. So suddenly the hippo bolted for the surface of the river, spitting Paul out, where Mike, one of the other tour guides, was waiting in his canoe for any sign of Paul. So he managed to pull Paul to safety inside of his own canoe. And here, floating on the Zambezi River, Mike did all he could to stifle some of the bleeding with torn up shirts and a basic emergency first aid kit, attempting to help patch up the hole in Paul's lung.
Oh, yeah, they keep that in a normal first aid kit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nope. He tried to patch it up with plastic wrap from the snack supply because he had nothing left.
He's got like pretzel crumbs in his
He's
lungs.
Just trying his best.
Yeah.
How those pretzels taste.
Yeah.
So Paul's blood continued to fill the bottom of the boat as they attempted to search for Evans, who was nowhere to be seen.
And the piranha started circling because they could smell the blood. I assume there's piranha. Wait, no, it's the Amazon, not Africa.
Yeah, we learned that from Disney movies. Thank you, Tarzan.
Right?
So Paul, even Evans was actually found like the next day floating face down in the water. He had drowned.
Did he ever get actually attacked besides the boat flip thing?
Not a fucking scratch on him.
Huh.
When they found his body. Nothing. Not even
weird.
a bruise. So it took 8 hours to get Paul to the nearest hospital that had a surgeon that could put Paul back together again. So Paul had 38 major bite wounds. His left arm, from the elbow down, had been completely crushed and degloved.
Does that I'm assuming I know what that means.
What do you think it means?
I think it means like the Dementor hand when it comes out of the robe.
There's no
just
skin
bones.
on it.
Yeah.
No, there's bone. There's meat still. It's just no
tendons.
skin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the
Degloved.
yeah.
It's been unsheathed.
Yes. So he arrived with a completely unsheathed arm. The tusks had also penetrated through his shoulders. Both of his arms were barely attached. His Achilles tendon was torn. A tusk had gone through his foot, the back of his neck, his head, and the top of his spinal column, and the front of his face and his cheek. Paul said, quote, I was kind of like a kebab.
It's surprising that Paul said anything.
Yeah.
Let alone just Quotey McChatty over here. Just, yeah, I'll give you all the...
All the deets.
Yeah.
Give you one guess why he gives you all the deets.
Why?
He lived.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I knew that much. He probably wanted to write a book and go on to make millions off this occurrence.
He's a motivational speaker.
See? His life is, what'd you do? How did you get where you are in life? Well, I survived a hippo attack.
Yeah.
Capitalized on that
All
shit.
right, sir. Do you blame him? What?
No, I mean...
He's missing an arm now.
Yeah.
Like,
he's just Chubbs from Happy Gilmore.
oh yeah, because he took off the alligator. Oh, someone should give him a really shitty wooden arm
Yeah.
with fingers that don't move, all stiff like.
Yeah. I don't know how they regloved him. What?
No. So ultimately, the only part of his body that Paul lost was his left arm, and he's now, like I said, a motivational speaker. He did
And a golf instructor.
Yeah. So he did return to that stretch of the Zambezi River one more time. He helped lead a 3-month-long excursion, which is the longest to date. So they paddled to where he believes he saw the hippo that attacked him. So they went back to the scene of the
Attack.
attack. And he's pretty sure he saw that hippo. And he must have blacked out because the quotes that I saw in the articles were like, his fellow guides said, so everybody else around him said, he screamed so high-pitched and loud at the hippo that he scared it off, and Paul never saw that hippo again.
I hope he was just saying every curse word in the book.
Oh,
just letting him have it.
Just all the 4-letter words.
The hippo is none the wiser as to what the fuck is going on.
He's like, I don't even know you, bro. What the fuck did I do to you?
He was just like, yeah, one time dinner got away. Weird. And then all of a sudden, some crazy human came back and screamed at me.
called me a cunt. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I just wandered off into the woods.
Yeah. Just went and ate something else. Whatever.
So this is not as uncommon as you would think.
Well, no shit. Hippos are massive. Like, they're man-eaters.
Yeah, they really are.
I mean, I don't think it's their preferred
No,
cuisine.
grass is their preferred cuisine.
Yeah. Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Not algae?
No. Algae. Bioluminescent algae. Moana. You didn't have to watch Moana as much as I did. Anyway, thank God for Encanto.
Right?
So hippos are about the second most dangerous animal in the world, only to be outdone by the bastard known as the mosquito.
Okay.
Mosquitoes kill about 725,000 people a year.
Really?
Hippos kill an average of 500 people per year in Africa.
Oh, wait.
It's not a close second.
I was gonna say, well, hit me with the first number again.
725,000 people.
And then the runner-up is what?
Hippos?
At 500 people?
Yeah.
We just drop all those other zeros?
Yeah.
Cool.
They think malaria has killed more people on the planet over the course of like disease ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Like Great Plague,
Yeah.
HIV, every pandemic, epidemic, everything, any cancer, everything. Malaria has just outpaced everybody in that regard.
Well, I would be pretty easy to say that mosquitoes outkill every other...
Everything?
No, kill more humans than every other animal short of humans. Every
Combined?
Year. Yeah, combined. If the next highest is 500, I don't care if you're going to need, 1,500 animals killing 500 people to even, scratch at that number. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think humans might be the only other people, like you said, only other animal that would kill other humans at that rapid of a pace, considering we can drop a bomb and kill 50,000.
Yeah.
So these 500 people a year that a hippo kills is nearly twice as many as lions kill.
Okay.
So the third deadliest.
That's still a relatively small number.
Yeah. Well, because like you said,
I mean,
people know not to fuck with lions. Like you look at them and you're like, wow. When you look at a hippo, you're like, oh, look at that little fat gump over there.
I guess that's over a person a day is getting eaten by a hippo, though, on average.
Yeah.
That's pretty decent.
Yeah. Pretty good kill ratio.
Yeah.
So hippos weigh in at about 4 tons, but bull hippos technically never really stop growing. They just kind of slow down and just keep getting bigger.
They just die.
Yeah. And neither do their teeth.
What's their lifespan of a hippo?
I didn't look that up.
I'll look it up.
All right.
What's your over-under? Hold on. Let me put an over-under at 18 years. Over-under 18 on a hippo.
I'm going to say over.
Hippo.
Like 35, 40.
Life span. I thought that was a pretty good. If I was a gambler. Holy shit. What did you think it was?
35, 40.
40 to 50 years. What about a lion?
Same.
8 to 10.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm just...
So they're not like birds where their lifespan goes up the bigger they get.
No, tigers are 8 to 10 as well.
Wow.
But elephants are 60 to 70.
Dogs are like that, though. Great Danes are really big dogs. They only live 8 to 10.
Anyway,
and then small dogs will live 20 years.
Boy, this is a wormhole that I could go down a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well...
We'll stop here.
Okay. You don't want to keep going?
Nope.
Okay. So, now you know. Just useless shit you didn't think you needed to know.
The fat things live longer than the fast things. Bear that in mind, folks. That's lessons to live by.
But you're both.
I know. I'm going to probably be right somewhere in the middle. I'm not fast. I'm quick. I'm not fast. There's a difference.
So bull hippos never stop growing, and nor do their teeth.
Okay.
So hippos have tusks.
They eventually, their legs fall off and they turn into walruses.
That's exactly right. That's how we got walruses.
Yes.
And then they're like, fuck, it's too hot here. And they go up north.
Yeah. They learn how to walk and they become penguins.
Just keep getting
evolve,
smaller and
yes.
smaller
Yeah.
animals.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's a shrimp.
Parts of them fall off. Yeah. Anyway.
So a hippo's tusks, they sit where like your incisors and canine teeth sit in a human.
Okay.
So I think the top might be where the incisors are and the bottom's where the canines are.
Okay.
I also thought incisors and canines were the same teeth, but I don't actually know. There's 2 at the top, to at the
The
bottom.
pointy ones,
Yep.
more than likely.
So the ivory of a hippo is stronger than that of an elephant,
Okay.
and they are sharpened to a foot and a half long point, or like sharp nub. Like it's not like a point like the way an elephant's gets where it comes to a point, but they're still very sharp. And they grind against each other like a beaver. How like beavers have to chew on wood to keep them short. They grind against each other to keep them in check, but they can get up to a foot and a half long.
That is crazy.
And it's stronger ivory than an elephant's. And the force of they can open their jaws 180 degrees.
Okay.
So literally all the way flat.
Yep.
And their jaw strength is 10 times stronger than a human's bite.
Okay.
So even though they give off the impression of a cute giant river puppy that
Who
looks...
the fuck thinks a hippo's cute?
I think
A
hippos are cute.
non-animated hippo is not cute.
Yes, they are.
No.
With your little chunky butts and the little chunky tie-ties. They're precious.
No. I disagree.
So, they look like they can only like snort and jog, right? Like huff and puff and like kind of get like...
No, you're talking about rhinos.
Yeah. No,
Yours-
hippos are the same way.
No.
No? You don't think so?
No, I don't think
Guess
so.
how fast do you think a hippo can run?
30 miles an hour.
20.
Okay.
Yeah, very fast. So humans can only run 6 to 8 miles.
Humans?
Humans can only run 6 to 8 miles per hour. So a hippo also has no qualms dispatching the lives of lions, crocodiles, hyenas, and baby hippos belonging to other bull hippos.
Okay.
They're ruthless psychopaths.
Yep.
They
Not
give-
toothless, but they're ruthless.
Yes, they give no shits.
Nope.
So usually an
They
attack
probably take massive shits. Probably at 2 a.m.
when they let their dog out.
Yeah, when they let their baby bulls out.
So, usually an attack takes place when a human enters a hippo's territory, especially if young hippos are around.
Yep.
So most attacks occur in the water, similar to what happened to Evans and Paul.
Uh-huh.
So it's difficult to spot this 4-ton chubby torpedo in the water because
That's what she said. Sorry.
there's a name for chubby torpedoes.
Yeah, 4 ton.
Chodes. But yeah, that should be replaced with 4-ton.
Yeah.
So a hippo, the reason why is because hippos float underneath the surface.
Hold on. You should write down 4-ton chubby torpedo because that should be the name of this episode.
Oh, I have no...
I'll put it on my phone right now.
All right.
Hold on. All right.
So,
And you're listening to 4-ton chubby torpedo.
yeah, you are. So they can hold their breath underwater for 5 minutes, allowing them to sulk below the surface of the water, waiting for a blissfully ignorant human to canoe over the top of them, where they typically charge up from below, catapulting the tiny boats. So that's their MO.
So it is like Lake Placid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Like more often than not, they just wait. Not like they're waiting for people to come across, but if they see a boat, they have no like that's like their thing. Like, oh, do you know what sounds like a lot of fun?
Yeah.
Flipping this boat.
Yeah. And then they go to their friends. I touched the butt. Sorry, the Disney thing.
That's actually what started it. They were like, "I bet you $1 you won't go touch that human," and then they're like, "Oh yeah,
I
Frank?
bet you a 1.5 foot tooth. You won't go touch that."
And they also, because they can hold their breath for so long, they'll hold you under the watery depths of like the rivers or lakes that they live in until you drown, because most people are lucky to hold their breath for like 30 seconds. So
especially in a mild panic because you're being squished by a huge
you're
chubby
literally
torpedo.
like, yeah, this man was alive, couldn't figure out. So the way that he was describing it in his interviews, because I watched interviews, that's how I know he's a big dude. He literally
You said this
said
was 98?
96.
Oh, yeah.
He couldn't.
So nobody got it on camera.
No, absolutely not. So when he was pulled into the water, he said his legs felt
Can
wet.
you imagine the GoPro footage?
Oh my god!
If you would have
it'd
had
be
one on
insane.
like his helmet or whatever.
It would
yeah.
literally just be a gray tongue.
Did he
like,
have a helmet on? I wouldn't
I don't
imagine
know.
you would go It's not whitewater rafting. It's
No, you're just going
kayaking.
down, like a chill. And like hippos obviously wouldn't be. They wade in the shallow water.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be in a choppy part of the river. They're going to be in a nice chill part where they can grab some fish and eat some grass and hang out. So he literally said when he got pulled in the water, his legs were wet and the rest of him was dry. And he couldn't understand why.
Oh, inside?
Yes. He couldn't understand why until he reached his hand out and felt the whiskers on the nose of the hippo.
Well, that and like...
And it finally clicked.
Well, the crazy part about that is that means the hippo had a watertight seal with his legs in between.
Yeah. Because the tusks had gone completely through him.
Penetrated him.
Yes.
Some would say.
Not a good enough word for the worst.
What was that? Have you seen Pitch Perfect lately?
Nope. Fuck that movie. I'm just kidding.
Get it together.
It's a great movie. Pop culture references.
Misquoting it left and right.
I did not eat dinner, and this is my third Vizzy, so we're doing great.
Huzzah.
Sweetie.
And I'm drinking coffee because I tried to have alcohol and I about fell asleep.
Because we're getting old, guys. So there's currently an ongoing clash between hippos and humans, growing in parts of Kenya around Lake Naivasha. As floodwaters raise the level of the lake, drowning out the grassy areas around the lake, which the hippos...
Oh, pushing them into residential towns?
Nope. There's no grass, so their secondary food source is fish.
I thought you were going to say humans.
No. So if you're pairing hungry hippos with hungry humans, vying over the secondary food source of fish in a lake with a huge economic downturn from the panini, this leads to a lack of affordability for like small boats for fishermen.
Was that you saying pandemic?
Yeah, the pandemic.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, because especially in Africa, there's a lot less work. So in order to feed their families and try to make a living, they still need to go fishing, but they can't afford boats.
Okay.
So they are just wading into the waters of Lake Naivasha up to their like nipples, trying to catch like tilapia, carp, anything they can get their hands on into the hippo's territory, who's also hungry.
They ride the hippos out, they fish together, and they split it 50-50. The hippos get half the fish, they get half the fish.
How are you going to tell that to a hippo?
Tarzan. I need Tarzan. He can talk to animals.
So one of the Skarsgårds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the creepy one that plays It, the other one.
The smoking hot one.
Sure. Whichever one he is.
Shit, which one is that? He's not the dad.
No. Good call there.
He's the blonde one.
Well, I think they're all the blonde ones.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yep. I think you're right. Tarzan. Yeah. This calls for Tarzan.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So obviously they're all competing for the food, the same food chain supply. So this is all culminated in an increase in hippo attacks. So there were 40 attacks in the summer of 2020. 14 of them were fatal just around this one lake in Africa.
It's a lot.
And that's the short history of hippos and humans.
Oh, okay. We're just right there.
Yep. I have nothing else for you. I had to pad it a little bit. It was also a really sad article that I found on Nat Geo where they had like a guy who watched his best friend die, and it was like, oh.
I don't want to bring that up.
Yeah, it was really sad.
Okay. Well, this one's more fun because, like...
Not as bad as the bear mauling,
Well, the guy who gets attacked...
Lives.
His buddy dies. I think he must have had, like, a concussion. That's why he was being frozen or something.
Yeah, because he wouldn't even react to him at all.
So you feel like there was something going on there. And then the quote-unquote bad guy is just a hippo using, like, natural instincts to be an asshole. Like, because it sounds like they're, like, a little bit of the boat flipping and everything.
Yeah. They have an ass. They get a little bit of a mean streak.
And they're also just protecting their young and their territory.
No. They're protecting their territory. They're sure not protecting their young. Because if there was another young there from another bull hippo, that male hippo would eat it.
Well, not their species young, but maybe their lineage young.
Yeah.
Do you have sources or anything?
Oh, yeah. National Geographic.
Nat Geo.
Nat Geo.
Only in your state, Zimbabwe.
That would be only in your country. Get it right. So the National Geographic article, Human Hippo Conflicts Are Exploding in This Pristine Patch of Kenya.
Pristine.
7news.com.
7 what?
7 News.
News.
7nudes.com. AU article.
We all heard it. I just wanted to make it.
The name of the article was I was swallowed by a hippo and ripped apart. Paul's story of survival defies belief. Could you imagine 8 hours to get to a hospital where someone could fix you in Africa?
The shock's got to set in, right?
He remembers the point where he was fading and he knew he had to make the decision to either just die or survive. And he made the decision to survive. And he said all of a sudden, every ache and pain in his body hit him.
Yeah.
He made the decision he was going to say, and then he felt every single part of his body that was damaged just hit him in a wave. And he literally was like, at that point, I immediately regretted that I did not just die.
Poor choices were made.
Yeah. And then he still had to live like that for 8 more hours just to get to the hospital where they had to cut his arm off and put his shoulders back together and make sure there weren't holes in his skull. It's insane.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other source is a BBC interview, Hippo Attack Survivor Paul Templar on Miraculous Escape.
Not today, Hippo.
And then a-z-animals.com.
A to Z animals?
Yeah. Hippo attacks, how dangerous are they to humans? And to be fair, a lot of the facts I found in this article were also in the National Geographic article, so it felt like it was a semi-legit source.
Okay. That's probably where Nat Geo gets a lot of the references from.
Oh, totally, yeah.
A-Z animals.
100%, yes.
All right.
They seem like a hard-hitting
that was fun.
info.
I feel like you're going to lean back towards true crime next week. I know you kind of got a pattern.
I don't know what I'm going to do next week.
Okay.
I also have to figure out a deep dive. Look.
Meh. Deep dives are overrated. We put out 3 episodes last week.
Yeah, we did. You went balls to the walls.
Yours, the bonus one, and then the Patreon one. It was enough. Anyway, hope you guys appreciated this one.
Yep.
It was more lighthearted. Fun. Terrible.
There's a survivor.
Terrible with a twist.
Now you know to avoid hippos.
Yeah, because
how do you guys feel about Fiona now? She's a real bitch, isn't she?
Fiona.
She's a really famous hippo that has been born within the last few years. Everybody's freaking out about. They had live footage of it and shit.
I'm just traumatized by Scotty doesn't know. Fiona. Euro Trip. There's a movie for you. Shout out to all my late 80s babies. Grew up in the Euro Trip American Pie era. Anyway.
Wait, isn't that the Candy and Porno movie?
No, Candy and Porno's Fez. That 70s show.
Okay, you're right. Yep.
Come on. Get it together. God. Anyway.
Wait, that one had the guy that kept taking clothes off every time they went underneath a bridge, right? Was that movie? Was that Euro Trip?
Yeah.
They got stuck with a random dude.
Yeah. That's a really... Whoever that is famous, too.
Yeah. Was that... Is it Sacha Baron Cohen?
I don't think it is.
We have to find out.
On here? No. We'll do that on our own time. Anyway, thanks for listening.
Oh, if you've made it this far.
Congrats. We're off to the Google.
Shout at us. Tweet at us. Do whatever you need.
Anyway.
Tell us who that is.
Yes, it's not. I know who it is, but it's not.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Oof, that was terrible. Thanks for listening to our terrible podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at TMSTPod.
And if you'd like to support the show, you can find us on Patreon at Tell Me Something Terrible.